landscape continues to vacillate from crisis to another. Since independence, the history of the country has been peppered with anarchy, coups, and bloodshed. This month, the spectre of violence returned to haunt the motherland when a fracas in Aurora district resulted into death, arrest, and torture. Can we find common ground, find peaceful means, and dump violence on the dustbin of ignominy? On the spotlight is a panel of four, including Doreen Amule, a Molata woman MP, Semuju Ibrahim Uganda, Kira Municipality MP, Medad Segona, Busiro East MP, and James Kakoza, Kabula County MP. Good evening once again. Before we start the discussion, I want to get a live transmission from Kirudu Hospital, where the two members of parliament that were trying to go for seek medical attention abroad, they had reached Entebbe International Airport. That is Honorable Francis Zake for Mitana Municipality, and Honorable Robert Chagulanyi, also known as Bobby Wine, for Chadondo. They were blocked from traveling abroad, and now police has brought them back to town, and they have brought them to Kirudu Hospital. And those images you're seeing right now are the supporters and the minders of the Honorable Zake and the Honorable Chagulanyi, who have just been brought into that hospital in Kirudu. Earlier, the police issued a statement claiming that Zake had more or less escaped from the hospital to Entebbe. But if you see the condition in which he arrived at Entebbe, this is not a person who could have escaped, because he was being helped. And he left, I think, Rubaga Hospital without any incident until when they reached Entebbe International Airport, and police said they could not go. Most of the people who have seen those two members of parliament say they actually need a lot of medical attention, sort of advanced medical attention in an advanced hospital, and that's what they wanted to get. But unfortunately, their intention was not followed through and through, because police decided to bring them back to Kampala, and now they are in a government hospital in Kirudu. Those are the images there. What you can see right now are members of the police, anti-riot gear, fully armed, and they escorted them with the anti-riot police from Entebbe to Kirudu. That has been quite an incident for the last couple of hours. In fact, we have our reporter on the ground. When it is right, we should be able to link up with him so that he can tell us what he has been able to see for the last couple of hours, ever since police intervened from the departure lounge of Entebbe International Airport to ensure that those two members of parliament do not go, because they're still facing charges. I think those images you see and the effort of police to stop them is likely to cause quite another, to charge the already emotionally charged Ugandan supporters of those MPs. And that is what is happening at Kirudu right now. So probably at one moment we'll be able to link up with our reporter, and then he can give us more. But once again, we're going now to return to studio so that we can have the conversation, which is also related to the incidents that have been going on. In fact, my guests have been able to see those images, so let me start from there. As we speak now, we can see those two members of parliament, Bobby Wine and Francis Zake, who have been blocked from traveling outside the country for medical treatment. Can they be tried after the treatment? Let me begin with you, the Honorable Doreen Amule.
Thank you so much. For a fact, as members of parliament, it is our right. We've been having members of parliament fall sick here and there, and they've been referred for treatment outside Uganda. But a circumstance under which Honorable Zake and Honorable Chagulanyi were going out for treatment needed to have had a clearance from government. Because, first of all, they were in custody, and then Honorable Chagulanyi is bailed, and Honorable Zake's trial, as per se, is not something that anybody is clear about. And we know the circus that happened in Aurora. So to me, it was incumbent upon the honorable members and maybe the relatives and people who are arranging their fly out. But in a normal circumstance, it's actually Parliament that arranges their treatment out. So I don't know whether that has been followed. If it is not followed, we are not going to have this country where you do as you will. But
so what is happening right now? They deserve it.
For as long as
to bring them back to Kirudu.
For as long as they have not been cleared. But for me, I think the best is they can be brought back, cleared, and they are taken for treatment. That's the best thing. But for as long as the country has not cleared you, even under normal circumstances, when you want to go out, you have to be cleared. If there are questions on you, you can be detained. I happen to have a sick person. That was last year actually. And the lady was not cleared. I was taking her for treatment. I can assure you, she followed me 2 days later when I had gone. I had to pay for the expenses of cancelling her flight, and that was a normal circumstance. But why? The doctors in Uganda had not cleared her referral. But to me, I thought it was just a matter of getting the air ticket and flying out the lady for treatment.
Okay. The good thing is that all of you here are members of Parliament, but you are on a different political divide. Let me come to the Honorable Medad Segona here, because these are your clients, these are your colleagues. You have seen them. In fact, you actually saw them before the rest of the world got to see them, apart from those who are holding them. And you understand the state in which they are in. What do you make of what we've just seen?
Well, the difference between me and my sister is that we come from different backgrounds and training. I know that we cannot afford to have a limitless government, and that every government must operate by law. I am not aware of any law, and she will educate me tonight, that requires that before a member of Parliament travels, he must be cleared either by Parliament or by government generally. We were not, until this evening, were not aware of any charges against the Honorable Francis Zake. I am aware of the charges against the Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. I am aware that he obtained the bail from the High Court and that there was no condition for his bail relating to travel and any ban. If anything, the government had Kyagulanyi for as long as they wanted. They brought him to court without any order or without anyone compelling them to bring him to court. And they handed him over to court. If anyone was complaining about his travel, it should have been court. Court released him, and there was no such condition that he must not leave the country. If anything, they tried to raise it, and the court overruled them. I said no, he will retain his passport. So they did not, both of them did not seek any assistance from Parliament, because we all know the protocols that someone must obtain to get funds from Parliament or from government to be treated abroad. Now, what happened this evening reminds me of the death of the Honorable Nebanda. When the Honorable Nebanda died, Parliament constituted a team to go and investigate the circumstances of her death. There were suspicions of her having been poisoned. And when we tried as Parliament to establish the truth by taking samples out for examination, the doctor who was taking them, Dr. Sylvester Nzivwa, was arrested, beaten, and had the samples confiscated, as if the government had something to hide. This tempts me to believe that actually there is a section of people in government who poison others, and that they do not want the truth to come out, because there is a suspicion that there has been talk that these two MPs could have been poisoned in custody. Some of us who resisted the temptation of accepting are beginning to think that there could be some grain of truth. Because why would you stop someone from going to receive treatment? After all, if you want a fair trial, if you want to try that person, you can only charge and try people that are not dead.
Okay, let me bring in the Honorable Kakoza, because so that we can have a mix from the different political divide here. If members of parliament who are facing charges, if they are not to travel, court would have ordered withdraw their passports. That would indicate that they cannot move. If they have their own money and the court has not put an impediment not for them to travel, then really, I suppose, then they should travel because they are not under any restriction.
I think that's one side of the coin.
What's the other?
The other, we must know, we must get it from the government. Why is it doing it? There must be a reason. Because I don't think government can come out of the blue and do some actions without a reason. And I want to state it that where there is an action, there must be something. And if it's done, then that's we as members of parliament, we must ask why it's done on members of parliament. Of course, with the normal circumstance, I've been a minister of health, you know. When you get sick, the medical board recommends. And once he recommends, that's when you want funds from government. On private, it must be a suspect that if you still have a question in government, which I don't know, I'm not sure, not until the government spokesperson comes out and gives us a reason. Because I don't want to judge one side of the action which is happening before we get the information from the other side. I don't think also those who are taking those actions are not human. There must be a reason why government is stopping them to bring back. And we cannot hide out from the truth. You know it, that the statements which have been coming from government have been saying Zake still have a case to answer.
And Bob Wine?
And Bob Wine, of course, Bob Wine was taken to court. I don't know the reason, but I mean why they are brought him back. But what I know, if it's private arrangement to go for treatment, anybody is allowed. But as you see what is taking place, there must be a reason from government which we need to get it, and we shall know it, because I don't want all of us who are sitting here, we know why government is doing it. There must be a reason.
Okay, Honorable Ibrahim, you know, what we've just seen, the images of these sick, seeming looking really sick people who were being helped to be put in an ambulance, and then even members of parliament, including their lawyers who have seen them, have seen these people are actually very sick, including the deputy speaker of parliament. Isn't this likely to continue to charge the already charged sort of population over this issue?
Let me just note from what the Honorable Kakoza has said. Sometimes it's very disappointing to be part of parliament where colleagues like Kakoza are also members. Because an MP, you must freely speak about what has happened to your country. You think about something that has happened repeatedly. The Honorable Kakoza now speaks as if he has just fallen from heaven. You remember when Dr. Kizza Besigye was president from flying, even returning, now it is about going away. Even returning became a very big subject that Besigye can't return from Nairobi. This government boxes itself into problems and it doesn't know how to get out. And then it keeps perpetuating, it keeps making the same mistakes. Kakoza, who was a minister in this government, you should be able to speak like an elder, a statesman. Bobi Wine was charged, released, and the court outlined the conditions of release. Now he's saying we are waiting for government. The same government was preventing even Besigye from returning, not going away. What were the reasons for stopping Besigye from returning from Nairobi?
No, I don't want to.
Because you have lived here.
I don't want to politicize
so where we are,
talk as if.
But that's what they are.
No.
So you can only pretend about what is happening.
I don't agree with you.
So see, the situation where
you must get the sense of facts.
The situation where we are now, I think they are attempting to control the damage that they have done. Unfortunately, I don't think those who are doing this are thinking. I told someone in the morning that the trouble with Africa, I think the majority of the Africans, is to act fast and think later. I think now they are regretting some of the things they did. They don't know how to get out of the situation. They created themselves, self-inflicted. Because the Honorable Bobi Wine has been processed by court. You had him in a military detention. He was even being forced to go to some health facilities by this government. Eventually, they couldn't hold him any longer. They said, now, even the charges that he had a gun have been withdrawn. Now, here, court, you can deal with him. Court dealt with him. Today, he was traveling, like, even if he didn't want to go for treatment, he has right to travel, to go anywhere. Now, they're saying, no, he can't go. They are taking him to Chirudu. I don't know. You had him. Why didn't they take him to Chirudu in the first place? The Honorable Zake, I have seen him. He's in a very bad state. We have just gone through a similar crisis with Honorable Namboze at Chirudu. They were dilly-dallying. You saw she can't walk. So someone who has been living here, you don't need to wait for anyone to tell you that actually we're in a crisis as a country. We just have to find a solution as leaders. Unfortunately, colleagues like Koza are hiding their heads.
No.
An MP doesn't need clearance.
Don't personalize the issues.
Doesn't need clearance.
Speak to the public, because
you don't need to. If I'm going for treatment, maybe the Honorable Amure, each time she goes for treatment, her bill is picked by government. That's why she may need the clearance.
But I've never gone for treatment anyway.
Yeah, but you're talking about from
Fortunately,
the point
I've never been sick for the last
even when you are taking, even when you are taking your own relatives,
whom I
you must
paid
be
my
cleared
own
by,
money.
yes.
It wasn't the
And you needed
government. It
clearance.
wasn't government. It was doctors of Uganda referring.
Oh, so they are the ones who are arresting people at Entebbe now.
That I don't
there
know.
must be a reason.
People don't need clearance to go for treatment.
They need.
We have also had
Who
people
clears?
who are falling
If
sick.
you want, I talk.
Who
as a
clears?
person.
Tell me, who clears?
A medical board. If
It is if government is
if
picking
it's the
your
gov-
bill.
That's what I've said. That's what I'm saying.
We're talking
But
about private
I'm
people
saying
funding their money.
Yes, if you're Uganda.
That is, if you are using public resources.
Exactly, that's what
If you have
That's
applied,
the case here.
Even
If it's
private, you need
it's
to
private.
be referred by
No,
Ugandan
no, you don't
doctors.
have
No,
No.
even if you are referred.
You don't
even
have
if,
to.
Even if you are referred.
But that's what I went through.
Even
This is
without
not an ordinary
reference.
circumstance.
This is what I went
These
through.
are people
They took
who have
advantage
cases
of
to
you.
answer with the
Nothing.
It
It
government.
was
didn't know
nothing like
They have
an
cases
advantage.
to answer with the
Clearance to go
government.
to seek medical.
Okay,
Okay,
let's
you-
one
They
at
have
a
to
time.
answer to government.
Honorable Amule, these people were cleared. There are three arms of government. You have parliament, you have the executive, and you have the judiciary. The executive arrested them using police. They later handed them to the judiciary. The judiciary, released them on bail. And have not put restrictions on them, especially Bobi Wine, not to travel.
Now, I want us, first of all, to appreciate the fact that we have a country. And it's only this country that we have. And any country must have governance. And all arms of government have to be respected, including police, including members of parliament, including judiciary. Now we are saying yes, judiciary cleared them. What about if government has a question?
Yes.
A few days ago, I was watching over the TV. I didn't see, I didn't follow. But they were saying when government wanted to take Zake, Honorable, to a public hospital, so that at least government doctors can also do the same test, it was denied. I didn't, actually I heard over news, and so it was on social
And
media.
there is more information.
And what I'm also saying is it so bad if government says, okay, you are going, but we have questions, can you hold a minute? And then tomorrow they are cleared and they go.
Yeah, but you see,
No,
the unfortunate
excuse
thing,
me.
and I'm saying I don't want to
Excuse me,
interrupt.
when you spoke,
Do we have
I
any
hold.
law that compels
Please.
government?
It does. If it has a
We
question,
do, we
Which
do.
law?
But they come and examine
Tell me the law.
No, please.
Which law?
You know, the government has been complaining and saying Zake has a question to answer.
Yes.
He
And-
escaped from custody
And
of
he's going to
police.
answer that question in a...
No, he escaped in custody of police.
No, the whole thing is they're saying,
No, the clear case, the government has come out and say Zake escaped from custody of police.
Is that the reason they have taken him
leaving
to
alone
Chirudu
that,
Hospital?
leaving
That's
alone
it.
that, we
Yes,
know
sir.
very well the circus is between government, members of parliament, and others. Now, when government says, okay, if this is what these private doctors are saying, can we also through
What
our
have they
doctors?
said? What have the private
By the
doctors
way,
said?
You would have asked them.
And where did the government find it?
No,
You see,
but- By the way,
No, you
Mr.
would have
Kamara,
asked
yes.
the
you
patient
see,
and those who are taking
I am
care.
a very restrained
Okay,
person.
fine.
Let's have Honorable Mule. Let's have one at
Now
a
we
time.
are saying, is it so something that cannot be sorted? If government says, okay, the honorable so and so, you can't travel because we have such and such a question on you, being sick or not, can't it be cleared tomorrow and these people go? Why do we want to put government into that subject that government does not have to question anything about?
You know, the thing,
whether members of parliament,
I think the question
whether
here,
sick,
before I can bring in
whether
second, is
healthy,
that government has been
those-
holding, for example, Honorable Bobby Wine for a
Listen.
long time.
Can you allow me finish before you ask another question? Can you?
Yes.
Is it okay? What I'm saying is, why should we want to hold government like government has not to control, not even to account, and nobody should be accountable to government? And yet we are a country. Even in your own home, can't you have a mechanism of at least having a say? But this, you know, I'm not saying honorable members should not go for treatment. But we're also saying if government has a question, can't we look at clearing what is it that government have against these people so that they can honorably go for treatment?
Honorable Medad, let's have
Well,
Medad respond.
you know, when they called me and asked me to appear on this program, as I was not well, I thought I may not, but I said, okay, let me honor. One of the first questions I asked is who I'm going to appear with. In future, kindly indulge me and tell me who I'm going to appear with, because I do not want to appear on a program and then lose my relationship with my colleagues who I work with. Doreen is somebody who chaired a committee to which I'm a member. She is my leader, therefore, to that extent. Now, I prefer that we make reference to the law, because this is not a private home of anybody. We agreed in our constitution that we shall have a government and that the government must operate according to law. Point number one, let's distinguish the two. They insist that the Honorable Francis Zake has a case to answer. Finally, they have told us that he is to be charged with the offense of treason. Now, Bobby Wine was in their custody for as long as they wanted him. We never even applied to court to have him produced in court. They are the ones that produced him in first in the military court, which the general court martial, which they call a court. Doreen and I visited him. Doreen was not allowed. Eventually, they said, we want lawyers. As my leader, I consulted. She said, you can go and see him. I went and saw Bobby Wine. From there, they took a decision to drop the charges in the military court and present him to the civil court. He was granted bail. He traveled from Gulu in the company of myself and many others, including the police and some members of the army. The man went to Ubaga. He received the treatment. Ubaga referred him. He says, let me go for treatment. If you had any questions, you had ample time as government to ask him. You had all the time. Since he left Gulu, they have never written to him, to us, or to anybody to say he has any other pending charges.
That's Bob Wine.
That's Bob Wine. Number two, for heaven's sake, I hope everybody will be able to understand this, because to me it's too basic. The government, under the law, or even basic common sense, has no right over my medication, has no right as to where I go for medication, as long as I'm not asking them for money to pick my bills. None of the two MPs has asked for money from government. Even if they did, there is a process. And the remedy or the sanction is to say, we shall not give you the money because we are not satisfied that your condition requires or necessitates referral. Your remedy as government, your sanction cannot be in denying me travel. They never asked for a ticket. Let's go to Honorable Zake. Again, it's a question of common sense and basic civility. This gentleman was arrested by the army. He was beaten. He was tortured at a police station in Aurora. He was dying in their hands. They took a decision to take him to hospital. They themselves, thinking he was about to die, picked him and dropped him at the entrance of Rubaga Hospital. If you're telling me that since the day he was dropped at the entrance of Rubaga Hospital, the government was not aware of where he was, then you're not talking about a government, except you're talking about a cluster of men and women ruling a country by force. If you do not have basic, if you do not have basic intelligence that would tell you where Zake has been, if you are not humane enough to know that actually if I'm to charge this man, I need him alive. If you are not a killer, if you are not a murderer, then you would let Zake receive treatment at his cost, since you are denying you're not the one who took him there. Let him receive his treatment. The people treating him have told you, you have no business with his bill, but we are referring him to India. It is common sense, it is basic civility. Okay? Idi Amin was never seen by anyone shooting, but they tell us that he killed millions of Ugandans. This is how governments kill. If you did this when Nebanda died or was killed, if you are doing it when these other people are dying, then you are not, you're not different from any murderer we have known.
Honorable Kakoza, some people will be asking, can't we respect the sanctity of life and the dignity of others?
No, but you see, also, I want to say it, even I've been on other radios. Also, we as leaders, as citizens of the country, we must be cautious of what we do. I don't want to distort information. As it's said, there is prior information now from other doctors. They are saying that what, as my colleague has said, they want to check, they think that it's not true. The facts are not put to order, that it's not true, that people are in bad state. So other doctors. This is true, because the information is there.
So you check them by force?
No, you don't check them. Finish, I do my point. Why am I saying so? I want all fellow Ugandans that where, as Honorable Segona said, that these people were beaten or were done what, I don't see anybody condemning the action was taken and the reaction. Where there is an action, there is a reaction. What all this brought all this? What all brought all this? The circus we are in. It's we leaders. Our conduct, our behavior, how we do things.
So let's put that question to the Honorable Ibrahim, because sometimes you accuse members of the opposition for playing the violence card.
Which violence? Did they
I mean,
shoot
the demonstration, you turn into riot, people burn tires and they throw stones, and actually, the Honorable Gonahasa told us on this show that yes, there was actually somebody who threw a stone on the motorcade.
Yeah, but you see,
before he answers, maybe can I?
People are not. I'm not a lawyer, but people are not collectively charged for an offense committed. That a stone has been thrown, and you go and arrest everybody like Kaihura did when Kawes was killed. They went arresting everybody, including children. You remember they were holding children for more than a week because their parents were in custody. They said even the children should be kept somewhere by police. My sister probably missed the opportunity to live under Amin, where government was everything. Today we are regulated, even government is regulated. That's why in Parliament, part of what you do, they present to you a budget and you pass it. The moment you allow a government that is unregulated, I think it is a recipe for disaster. To begin blaming the victim has been part of the arrangement by people who are in administration. You remember when the Besigye was being killed at Murago, they said he's the one who came with a hammer and he was hammering policemen. Yet we saw from all the media broadcast someone using a hammer to smash USG's vehicle. I think the attempt now, the attempt now is to blame the victims.
Let me first of all, let me take you to Kirudu right now, where we have reporters and somebody talking to the reporters there. Let's get to know what is happening. I just want to take you to Kirudu right now.
Tubadde bakyamuteeka mu ambulance ne Honorable Kyagulanyi watukidde ndowooza naye abadde ne flight okugenda okwongera okujjanjabibwa naye ne bamukwatira awo ne bamussa mu ambulance era ya police ne Honorable Zaake ne bamussa mu ambulance ya police ne batuvuga ku speed eyayiriyiri okakana nga tuli Kiruddu. So essaawa zino tuli Kiruddu tetumanyi kitiddako tebatukkiriza na kulaba bantu baffe. Imagine tebatukkiriza na kulaba bantu baffe batusibidde ku gate abantu omuntu mulwadde tetumanya ani amuliko saawa zino. So really kino kibi nnyo bwebanga eno yenkola sisuubira nti ddala kyekino bulijjo ekyogerwako nti ensi erimu emirembe because omuntu at least muwe eddembe lya abantu be bamubeere kumpi kuba mulwadde yeetaaga abantu be. So kibi nnyo era nkivumirira. We went to the airport at around 10 a.m. From Rubaga Hospital. We wanted to take Honorable Zaake to the airport because he was going to India for further medication. When we reached at the airport, immigration blocked us. We had the first flight at around 2 p.m. in the afternoon. They blocked us. We missed that flight. We booked another flight, and it was supposed to be at 6:55 p.m. They also immigration blocked us. We also missed that flight. So as we had missed the flight, Madam Grace Akulo came with a team from CID, and they told us that the patient is under arrest. So what they did, they put the patient in the ambulance, and as they were still putting the patient to the ambulance, also Honorable Kyagulanyi came, and I think Honorable Kyagulanyi also had the flight. He was going for further medication. So Honorable Kyagulanyi was also arrested, and Honorable Zaake was also arrested. So they are now at Kiruddu. We don't know what's going on. They have blocked us from seeing our patients, so we don't know what's going on.
Genda bakukkiriza oyingire nga tukyali wano. Well, they will show you
when you say you're a
family member. Genda what ekibaddewo leero, yes, what has transpired today is that the Honorable Bobby Wine and the Honorable Francis Zaake were today arrested from Entebbe International Airport as they were trying to get out of the country to get better medical treatment. Fortunately, they arrested them in our presence. I was there, the Honorable Sewanyana was there. We witnessed what transpired. The Honorable Francis Zaake was already in the departure lounge of the VIP, and they came, the director CID came with the police doctor and informed us that he was under arrest. They were bringing him here to Kiruddu for management before he would be taken to court. So he's here, we have seen him, but his condition is worrying. The Honorable Kyagulanyi was arrested as he was approaching the VIP entrance. That one we witnessed him being picked from the stretcher, placed in an ambulance, and the ambulance sped off to this place. We have also had an opportunity to look at him. His condition is also worrying. So we have spoken to the director CID, who says these two people have cases to answer. There are files they opened. They need those files to be investigated, so they cannot allow them to leave the country until the investigations have been done and completed. We don't know when the investigations will be completed, but part of the investigations is that they are going to be subjected to medical examination by government doctors in government facilities. So they have said they disregard examinations and reports from other doctors and hospitals. What they only want to take as credible is examination made by the doctors from government facilities. So they are here, and we've been able to see them. We are waiting. Now that they say they will be taken to court, at the level of the lawyers, we will be waiting to go to court and offer the necessary legal representation and support. Well,
what you have just been hearing there, that is the Honorable Asuman Vasalirwa, who is the lawyer and also member of parliament for Bugiri municipality, and you also saw the Honorable Sewanyana there. He was actually trying to give us an account of what happened today, how the Honorable Zake was blocked from flying out, and also the Honorable Bobby Wine, and that government says they have some cases to answer, but also they want them medical doctors, government medical doctors, to ascertain their condition, and that's why they have brought them to Kirudu Government Hospital. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guests tonight are Honorable Amule, Honorable Kakoza, Honorable Ibrahim Semujunganda, and Honorable Medad Segona. And without getting into the merits and demerits of the case, because that will be violating the rule of sub judice, let us get into the politics and the governance of our country. What is missing? I remember one time, I think it was the Forum for Democratic Change, talked about, was asking government to have some kind of a dialogue so that we can have some kind of truth-telling, bring maybe elders, a council of elders, and talk about our problems and find a solution. Because don't you think we need that, Honorable Moody, where we have reached now?
I was the one on the floor.
Okay.
And
because it actually came from you.
Yeah, if you can allow me conclude the point I was on, you had asked whether it is not us who are the source of violence. And I was telling you, the most unfortunate thing is to blame a victim. Because if you look at the Honorable Zake, he also has parents like all of us do. He's been beaten. This is the second time. In fact, last time, there was no need for clearance for him to go for treatment. The parliamentary processes, he was seeking funding from Parliament. It took long. Again, the family said his life was more precious than the parliamentary process and the money. He went for treatment. The same person is beaten again. He's in a very terrible shape, and now you want to blame him. The Honorable Chagulanyi was beaten even last time. Fortunately for me, when they were strangling me, SFC, when I reached police in Nagalama, they took me for treatment at a Catholic facility nearby.
Police took you for treatment?
They did, and I thanked them for saving my life. So you're talking about things that have, the moment you begin blaming victims, because the point I made earlier is that the government is going to control the damage, but you don't control it by worsening the situation. You've beaten people, you've tortured them, allow them to go for treatment. If I understood the Honorable Kakoza, he now says that the government want to disprove that these people were not beaten and therefore they are okay. The same way,
don't impute him.
I said if I understood you, so you have right to say that I misunderstood you, and I will say sorry to you.
You misunderstood me.
I'm very sorry.
Yes.
We had the case here of the Kamwing mayor, you remember? He's not beaten, he was not beaten at police, he was not beaten in Narufenya. The moment you begin condoning torture and you become an apologist and you're a leader, I can only wish that doesn't happen to you. I remember on Tuesday what I told Parliament. I was in Uzira, charged with a case that didn't go beyond the preliminaries when the Honorable Segona was representing me in court. But the same ward where I had been detained is where former Vice President was, Gilbert Bukenya, where Minister Mike Mukura was, where Jim Mwezi was, and the Kutesa has simply survived by a whisk. And that's why I kept asking my colleagues on the other side, the NRMs, please restrain yourself. Governments must be regulated. If you don't regulate government, you are in trouble. That they can go and descend on the population, beat them up, And then for you, say, they have a reason. That's why they have brought them back. You're talking about people who are dying.
No, but
If you can allow them the best cry to go and seek medical
One at a
treatment,
time. One at a time.
What else are you going to grant them if you're a government? You can't allow even people at a level of parliament who you are sure can't escape to go for treatment. What else will you grant the citizens? Then the point you are making, the question you're asking, just very briefly, whether we need a dialogue. We've said many times, those who are in power, I think they are now trapped. They don't know how to get out of power. This has befallen almost all the African leaders, with the exception of a few who have known that there must be a cut-off point. I think the ones we have who are removing term limits, removing age limit, don't think that there must be a cut-off point. And that's why they're acting desperate. Because why would you beat young people? President Museveni came here when I was 12 years and 4 months old. And people said, you hate him. How? I didn't even know he exists. I was too young to know. Now they're saying I hate him. How do I? I have said I have pleaded, even with him, because I appeared on a radio talk show with him, and I pleaded with him as a dad, please give us a gift. We will thank you, we'll line up the roads and thank you, and then you go home and rest. And then the country goes on.
But
okay, but the Honorable Kakoza, the NRM government under President Yoweri Museveni, for quite some time, you have done something that are phenomenal, that are good for this country. Do you find yourselves and the leader that perhaps you're reaching a level where the phenomenal contribution is now probably getting eroded?
No, you see, the political question in this country was solved a long time ago. If you participate in multi-party dispensation, everybody chooses a party you go and you compete. Once the verdict comes, the mandate of the people choose a party president to lead the country, that's all. You don't need to talk about, no. But the cardinal point is simple, is one. Salam Sum posted something on media, and he said, before that circus, he said, we attacked 3 times. He wrote, and I marked it, he said, I cannot now fail to understand if these people can attack us. I cannot fail to believe that they can end up attacking the motorcade of a president. This is where my point
I think
is.
that's where I asked you to restrain Honorable Kakoza.
That
because
one,
he's descending into the sub-judice.
I'm stopping there. But the question is, if it's politics, we as leaders in politics, we must respect each other. Because the language we use to the public domain makes a reaction, people to react. And by the way, I have to state it here. Our colleagues who think that they have a monopoly of violence. Nobody has the monopoly of violence. You cannot think that a leader who has been 30 years, you act violently.
Again, that's where I plead with you.
Okay, so
that is sub judice.
Okay,
unless you want us to the counter arguments.
That's okay.
The issue is now.
The issue is, we as leaders, if you want to lead people, our conduct, our
again,
behavior.
it is the same thing. I don't know why it takes long to understand
No.
If you bring into issue the conduct of a suspect in court.
No, I'm not saying all Ugandans. I'm not saying all, because this is not the first time these things are happening. You remember the incidents when they were beating Goodluck. You are talking of politicians. You remember at Entebbe Road? Was it really called for?
But he issued a statement saying nobody attacked him.
Okay.
No, but I'm saying all citizens, all of us,
all right.
we want peace in this country.
Let's go to the Honorable
We must
Mule.
check our behaviors.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Honorable Mule on the issue of the dialogue, but also look at our economy. Economy is ailing.
Maybe I'm too close to catch your eye.
Our economy is ailing. I've seen some people who are running tour agencies. People have been cancelling their visits to Uganda in
Actually,
big numbers.
Professor Cameron said so.
Yes, even the minister has confirmed that. I mean, a country is getting damaged. We need a solution to get back on track. Look at our neighbors. Just today, they were hosting the British Prime Minister, Theresa May. We are in trouble here.
It is because at times I don't know what we... To me, I think Ugandans are tired of peace. Because why am I saying this?
Oh, God.
As leaders First of all, what do we preach outside?
You will tell the people of Amolata they are tired of peace?
No, what I'm saying, I think some of our people, because as leaders, what do we tell people outside there? You know, whatever I utter, somebody somewhere will pour relief. But what we preach outside there is what is causing us. There are countries that something drastic can happen and nobody get pill of it. Nobody get wind of it. Why? Because people hold their country precious. People want the tourists to come. People want to sell the good image of their country. But I'm telling you, you will not, just like any family, get a country without problems. Leave that aside. We are talking of the economy getting bad. On what sense? It still boils back to us. It still boils back to us. How do we handle the circumstance? Because if tourists can't come to our country because of what we send on social media, because of what we preach outside, because of what we influence people in the diaspora, what are they speaking about Uganda?
Yes, there were images of people being beaten like beasts on the street, even when they had surrendered and identified themselves as not rioters.
Did you go down to find what happened in that incident?
There were people who came back, including my colleague, yes. My colleague in here, whose place was black.
This is why I said where there is an action, there is a reaction.
Did you bother to find out exactly what happened in such a particular incident? Did you? As media? Because, by the way, Ugandans listen to media, see media, hear media, whatever form of media, whether it is televisions, whether it is
fake news,
whether it is fake news. But did you bother to find out what really happened?
The Chief of Defense Forces condemned his men, condemned the action, and said what happened was unacceptable.
No,
but what is the genesis of that? What was the genesis of that? What was the genesis of that?
Honestly, because what
were the genesis of that?
What I get to know is there was a riot. And the army men were trying to disburse any person who
with pliers.
Sorry?
With pliers.
Whatever the case, it was a disbursement, right? Now,
but who told them that they should go on the street because they are free to burn tires on the road?
A pliers official weapon of government.
No. Pliers, but me, what I'm talking about.
A pliers official
and they reacted to that.
A riot is a riot.
And it calls for pliers.
Whatever the case, it depends on the magnitude and the attitudes of the rioters. Because there are people who riot.
That you arrest somebody, subdue him, and use pliers to pluck off his skin.
A riot is unlawful.
And you can defend that.
But that's
I didn't see a plier anyway.
Friend,
I didn't see that.
My friend, in a riot.
I didn't see that section of the pliers, but what I'm saying is...
A riot.
When a riot surpasses a certain magnitude...
It calls for pliers.
Then I didn't see a plier. Whatever was used, whether it was a gun, whether it was tear gas, what I'm saying, there are magnitudes of riots. And it can be harmful to those who are not even participating in the riot.
Okay, let me bring Honorable Sagona. In this case for Uganda, do we have neutral personalities, a council of elders that can be acceptable to both sides and oversee some kind of peace and maybe reconciliation talks? Perhaps we need this now because Uganda seems to be so polarized at the moment.
At one point, we were in Parliament. The Honorable Uganda was asking Right Honorable Hakana Rugunda that if I had a disagreement with your son, Kwame Rugunda, we would run to you as a dad to separate us as the neutral person. So he asked him, what happens if my disagreement is with you at your age? Once you have old men who do not want to retire, those we would say best before 2000, and they are insisting and clinging on to power. That is where we miss the point. We've had a council of elders advising the president. But those you call elders, some of them are younger than the president, so he cannot listen to them. If you have a president who retires others at 60, retires others at 70, I think the highest servants of government retire at 70, and those are justices of the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. And the president has passed all those ages. Who are you talking about that he will listen to? He has abused and insulted all of them. I do not see that happening. Secondly, if you're talking about dialogue, it calls in, no, I don't want to use, in this case, basic civility, because it involves the president and I risk being misunderstood. But there must be a spirit that someone can sit down and talk. As we speak now, the government has been taken over by some radical young men who advise and ill-advise the president. I restrained myself from going sub judice. But tell me about these young men. By the way, these SFCs you're talking about, none of them is above 30 years. These are young men who think probably they have nothing to lose, aged 19, 20, 23. They have no respect for human life. They have no children. So when he's hitting you as if he's hitting a snake. And that's where I want to call upon the country to be careful with such people. Now, in such circumstances, it becomes very, very difficult to talk of dialogue with a man who tells you he's the master of violence. When they did this, we killed them. When they do this, we shall kill them, etc. Now, about people being conscious, I agree. First of all, I condemn violence in whatever form, from whichever source. There is nobody who can justify violence. And I agree that if anybody hit the presidential motorcade, if anybody threw a stone at each other, it is criminal.
You're still getting into...
No. I'm very conscious, very, very conscious, by the way, about that. I'm a master at that. You see, if anybody did anything of the sort, it is the duty of government to arrest that person, take him to court in accordance with the laws of the land. Whoever did it. Now, that said, it cannot be the license for the government to mete out violence onto people. When you arrest somebody, and I'm now talking about torture, which is not before any court of law. When you arrest somebody, treat him in accordance with the law. They have breached all the fundamentals of our laws with respect to these suspects. They have beaten them, they have maimed them, etc. Now, when you talk about the respect for each other, yes. Someone asked, what happens? How come there was no violence in Aurora before the president went there? I have immense respect for the president and for the person who occupies that office. It is with pain that I respect him now. But talk about this. You have somebody who goes to campaign. On the one hand, he's a president. On the other hand, he's a campaign manager.
He's the chairman of the party.
Yes. I agree. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Now, when he's going to campaign, you say he's the chairman of a party, he's entitled to go and campaign. When it comes to the plane along which all players are playing, you say, no, he's the president. When he's coming, give way. If I were president, I would even not only suspend, but I would arrest the person in charge of my itinerary. Because before you flag off the president to take a particular direction, one of the first things you must do is to clear the route. Make sure it is safe for the president. It is not prone to risk. Number two, Zake is placed in... No, I will not talk about the treason. I will not talk about your stone. Zake is taken to police station. The MPs who are at the police station already tell us they were cutting his fingers like this, chopping, and asking him, where is Bobby Wine? Where is Bobby Wine? As if he's Bobby Wine's wife. Until members protested and said, you cannot kill our colleague in our presence. And that's when they took him to wherever they took him. Okay? Now, you have subdued, because they've been saying Zake is a warrior, he fights, etc. The man is on handcuffs. The legs are chained. You continue to beat him. You continue to chop his fingers. To achieve what? In 2008, when I was kidnapped by these same men, one of the things they asked me, supposing it is you, you're running your family and somebody comes in to disorganize you. I said, which family? I said, Museveni is running his country, you're disorganizing him. Now, some people have donated this country to just one single man, who I must say actually, going by the natural course of events, has less stake in this country than myself, because he's on his way out. when I look at myself as a father, I have less stake in this country than my children because they have more time. They have more in the future. Mr. Museveni has had his past, and now he thinks we shall be imprisoned in the past of this country, to which turmoil he contributed. I was not a player in this. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to my colleagues, by the way, you can speak for your government, even without descending into, I will not use the word. You talk about, you justify, somebody leaves a police station to go and quell what you call a riot, which was a demonstration, but call it a riot. Premeditated, with pliers to go, get somebody arrested, subdue him, but continue to use pliers to chop off his nails, his skin, and somebody can come here without a sense of shame to justify that kind of thing. Look at that. The man is holding his camera. Look at that. Exactly that. And that is the civility you are defending. You can do better.
We are not, Honorable Sogana, we are not.
And you're telling me.
We are not defending the actions. But also, those people who went to riot.
What has that young man done? Look at that man's head.
Those people who started those actions to ban, to root, to do everything on the road. Me who is not interested in Kakoza, coming to do my own business. Should I get convinced because people want to riot?
And
so
now
you're going to beat everybody.
You're going to beat everybody.
But you see, that's what I said. That where there is an action, there is a reaction.
Okay.
Where there is an action, there is a reaction.
All right, Honorable Amole, these things have happened. Our country needs to heal. We need to move forward. You said we have a country, but we need to govern the country better.
You cannot heal with warmongers.
What I'm saying, okay, but you need to listen to each other.
Those who want to have warmongers, they will have it. Because this country has gone through all that. I'm telling you, I can say it on TV. 2 days when they shoot, one man made a mistake and shoot the plane of Habyarimana and Nkurunziza.
Did he make a
and
mistake?
And the president died.
Did he make a mistake?
Yes.
Who was that man?
It was.
Who was that man?
Do you know how many people died?
Who
within
was that
2
man?
days, 3 days.
You know the man, you don't want to say it.
No, but
you see, Kamara,
I'm telling you.
Kamara,
so people who want to for the war, those who don't want peace, please, we've gone through things. You cannot destabilize the country. You cannot destabilize the country.
I think we're
and
getting
the government.
I think we are getting radicalized now.
Yes,
on
you cannot destabilize the country.
And which is very dangerous.
And which is very dangerous for Uganda.
How do you destabilize the country other than by doing what you guys are doing?
You see, where we started, the Honorable Kakoza has kept asking.
Yes, Honorable, please. Okay.
But she has just spoken.
She hasn't. She's been very quiet for some time. Please, Honorable Mule.
Yes. I want to get your question again because I was interrupted.
I mean, we have a country. We need to start talking to each other. I can see we're getting highly radicalized on a different political divide. So what do we need to do so that we can save the situation? Because we are now entering into uncharted territories, and that's bad for Uganda.
You know, we have a country that all of us want it to be that peaceful, good governed country. But I always blame individuals, especially when you're in leadership position, that you only want to tickle. You only want to do things that makes you be sold as doing so much when you cannot even offer too much. What bothers me
What exactly do you mean now?
No, what bothers me is when I ask myself, for Honorable Chagulanyi, I don't have much to say. But we are asking ourselves, how comes that it is from Parliament, Honorable Zake, and then it goes to Aurora, Honorable Zake. But these were 6 members of Parliament in Aurora. Then you ask yourself, what is it exactly? And then we also ask ourselves, why is it as members of Parliament, we want to show the world that Uganda is ungovernable? What are we selling to the young people exactly? You think by telling people we are going there, by the time we reach there, Museveni must have gotten out. Even if you were the president tomorrow, and then a member of Parliament is talking like that, and then this is government, and then this is a country. So what I'm saying is, when you begin saying that you cannot have a dialogue with the master of killer, I've had Museveni sit down and dialogue with so many people. Why is it that we've not had issues with other parties? Why is it that we have not had
Like
issues?
which parties haven't you had issues with?
How long ago have we fought with the, say, DP, say, say, UPC? You know,
And briefly tell me,
it is only this government that even employs opposition party in its cabinet.
It appears you,
So
our
that is
leaders
that's the
and
sense
members of
of
parliament,
that's the sense of
are
working
also
together. No, why can't these other parties, with all the expertise, with all the brain that they have, also come and we work for the better, instead of all the time trying to disorganize the government that is running?
Honorable Mule, do you realize we have an army of Ugandan young people who are unemployed, who are living in poverty, who can look at you, who are members of parliament? You seem to be seated on a high table. They also want to join that table, maybe partake, or even take an entire table.
That's the
do you
problem.
understand that that is a problem of unemployment?
That's a problem.
But the set mind of
Even
Ugandans,
in Europe, in
Still
the
the
white
same
country
question.
that we think, not everybody who works there works for government or works in government institution. We are clinging to bring our children to a small basket of thinking that some person should
set
have
mind.
done something for them. We fail to tell the young people, look here, you can set it, you can work, you can do something, even within your locality. By the way, by the time, I've seen people enterprising. I've seen great men come out of nothing, but not because they get white-collar jobs. How many white-collar jobs do we have? If you had only told me all the time that we waste as parliament, all the time as we waste as opposition and government all alike, come together and say, which department, for example, do we first steer which line to make sure that Uganda have what is enough for everybody, I would be so grateful. But all the time opposition want government to keep on firefighting what they cause, politicking even on development issues. When we are supposed to debate for what benefits a Ugandan, we are debating on what, you know, at the end of the day, leadership is not offered by even us who are members of parliament. Opposition,
actually,
all the time.
What is coming out?
Kamara, you forgot all about me.
No, what is coming out all over the world? I was reading the Zhepeng of King, the president of China. He gave us a book. I was in training in China for 1 month and a half. What is happening all over the world? That the set mind of people, of young people who are unemployed, the government must come out to deal with the set mind of young people, as she has stated.
But government alone can't do it.
Can't
You
do
know
it.
how
All
difficult
leaders.
as the leaders.
All leaders.
Should be all
we
playing
must.
the same game.
I know a young man who used to be, who is an NRM diehard. In fact, at one time he wanted even to run for Secretary General of the NRM party. His name is Apollo Kibira. He went into farming. He planted a huge chunk of land of maize in Sembabule. And he's now making a loss.
No, that's
He has
true.
made a big. He's now crying with the produce. But anyway,
yes.
Honorable Moody.
Yeah, you see, listening to the argument, especially from my sister, she says the MPs made statements here. What would you have done if you were a president? Someone had told me that what happened in Aurora was premeditated, and I didn't believe it.
It's good you are told.
Now she has helped me to understand that they made statements, and therefore, what would you have done if you were the president?
No, get me right. I never asked such a question.
You have forgotten.
Yeah.
Let us
I did.
speak
You have
one at a
forgotten.
time, Honorable Muli. Then
So
we will
therefore,
respond.
I understand why people were treated the way they were treated. We went to Aurora for an election and campaign. If you don't want campaigns, you have the option to do it the Amin way. You declare yourself a life president, no campaigns, because you see, the moment you are a campaign agent,
We are not ready for that.
but you still want to be treated as a president. You don't want people to say words about you against you because you are a president. You are attacking electoral commission. You are attacking your own institution. The institutions you are presiding over. Now, what it was an electoral commission for the president to attack them. because the results must go his own way. The Electoral Commission must announce his own candidates. So if it doesn't happen, the Electoral Commission is at fault. The opposition are at fault. They have inflated the register, and so on and so forth. That takes me to the point you have been elaborating to make. How do we get out of this situation? It's still very difficult. I have seen countries that have gone over the situation that we face now, countries like Ghana. And I pleaded with the president the 2 times we were on a radio talk show in December 2014. Because you see, the moment you have a head of state who controls nearly everything in a country, and he doesn't want to cede any territory, even the dialogue becomes itself. Because the dialogue that the president would want is the one that my sister is talking about. Come and join the government. Opposition, we give you jobs, we do things together.
The president of your party cannot negotiate with the president.
In Ghana, what Rawlings did, after so many years in power, he said there must be a cut-off. And he went peacefully. And that's why in Ghana they have changed governments from opposition to a ruling party many times, and the country is stable. They can't complain that tourists are not going to Ghana. In Zimbabwe, you've seen how that country deteriorated. Zimbabwe was nearly the 4th biggest economy in Africa, very close to South Africa.
What about Libya?
Because they had a president for 43 years. You want to ask me what happened?
No,
you rule a country like it is your own family.
It's because are they better now?
You stick to the books of China you have read, and then let me make the point I am making. He thinks Gaddafi should have ruled beyond 43 years.
Are they better now?
So therefore, the point I am making, I agree with anyone. We will need maybe a lot of pleading. Some people need to go and plead with President Museveni as a person. There must be a cut-off for him. But someone was saying, you said, how can I leave this country to wolves? So he actually thinks it is his birthright to be a president of Uganda until he expires.
Honorable members, you will ask that later because we're going to take a break. And when we come back, I'll be able to open the lines that Ugandans will also call us on the numbers that will be shown on the screen, and they tell us what they think, or even ask you questions because you are their leaders. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching On the Spot. My name is Patrick Amara. My guests tonight are Honorable Amule, Honorable Kakoza, Honorable Ibrahim, and Honorable Segona. And we now want to open the line so that you two who's watching this program can be able to contribute, because this is also about you from wherever you are. You have to make it very precise and concise. And please, if you disagree with the panelists here, at least show them some kind of respect, because it is civility that seems to be lacking in this country nowadays. So I'll be taking the first.
Good evening, Mr. Kamara.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where you're calling from?
I'm Semanda from Shema.
Okay, Semanda and Shema, you're on air.
Mr. Kamara, I must say that I'm disappointed by Ms. Amur and Kakoza.
Why is that?
If they have been living in this country, surely they can see what is going wrong and right. How can you say that a man like Zaki ran from the prison? Who would believe that? Do they think that we don't reason? Do they think that we were born idiots or what? They should think that we also think. Why? Amul, for heaven's sake, I think her name should have been in news, not just Amul. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. Seems to be an angry person from Shema there. But let me take about 5 callers, and then my panelists will be responding very quickly. And if you disagree, like I say, you just show them civility. Respect is very important in times like this. I have a call online. Hello. Hello. The problem is that sometimes I pick a line and you want to listen to yourself, and it brings an echo into the studio or to where you are. We can't have a healthy conversation. When you pick that call and it goes through, please, you turn down the volume of your TV set, then we can have a very good conversation with you. So let me try to pick another call online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name?
Good evening. How are you?
What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm called Andrew.
Andrew, where are you tonight?
I'm Makinde.
Makinde, you're on air.
One, I'll first appreciate Honorable Segona with what really very brilliant. One, and second, I want to ask Honorable Kapoza that their age and our age, for example, I'm 29, we have a very, very big bracket. How they are reasoning and how we are reasoning today will really differ. For instance, he's talking about the incidents that happened in Aurora. Me, I wasn't in Aurora, but I've been following, can put dots. I want to tell those people, before they come out in media to criticize and say this and that and that, let them boil and leave. They're putting us in a total mess. Thank you.
All right. Let me maybe pick two more callers online, and then we can have my panelists respond. Hello. Hello. Okay, once again, I'm not going to get tired of trying to give you an advice that when you call, please do not call and then you also try to listen to yourself on the same TV set where you are listening from, because it will cause an echo and then you will not have a conversation with us. You'll have to turn down the volume of your TV set and then you can have a better conversation with us. Let me try to take another call online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, good evening. This is Anthony.
Yes?
I'm calling from Nsoba.
Nsoba?
Nsoba.
Yes. Now, this is the problem I'm seeing here.
Okay.
The reason why people decided to create government is because some of the times people be bad to each other. Mm-hmm. Now people decided to get together and create government so that it can oversee whatever they do. I might want to steal from you, government should come in and settle it. I might want to beat you, government should come in and settle it. So it is okay if we go and there is electoral violence between people, individuals, because people usually antagonize each other. Now the problem is that when it's the government which is creating violence, we don't know where to report them. Because if these people, Bobby Wine and everybody, did anything, the government should come in and pretend. But if it's the government getting pliers and plucking off people's flesh, if the government is treating people to the level of killing them, a driver who is seated in a car of Bobby Wine is shot dead and somebody is telling you that he was in violence, throwing stones while he's seated in a car, then we don't know what to do anymore. That's what pushes people to bush, because the only way to run to, the only person to run to has also joined the violence. Now it's like the father who also joins the children's fight and is throwing stones. It becomes a nuisance.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you for your contribution. I'm going to take one more or two, if I could, and then we'll wrap it up. Hello? Hello?
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Moses, calling in from Kampala.
Okay, Moses, you're on air, sir.
I want to ask two questions.
Yes.
To Honorable, that Madam.
Mm-hmm. Honorable Mule, Doreen.
Doreen, yes.
Yes.
I just need yes or no. Does she support what happened in Aurora? That's the first question. The second question goes to Mr. Kakoza. Does she know that there is life after NRM, after President Museveni's government?
I can help Kakoza, he doesn't.
No.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm not a ghost that I can speak on.
Thank you very much. One more caller, and then we wrap it up. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Stephen calling from Kampala.
Stephen, you're on air.
Okay, thank you. I would like to talk to Madame Amulen. Yeah. In her opinion, how does she expect the government to behave? You are the government. The government is the people. How can you have a dialogue or even reconciliation with the government, in her opinion, that does not even care about its people? Because if you care about the people, you cannot arrest someone and start torturing using even pliers, then you call yourself the government.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. My producer is telling me there are quite a number of Ugandans who are calling right now. They want to be part of this conversation, but I thank you for having kept to your civility in matters that seems to be emotionally charging. But thank you very much, Honorable Amule. Probably you could go first, and then in that order.
Okay, the first question was from one of my brothers. I didn't note down the name. And he was actually talking about the incidents in Aurora. But you know, government think about everybody alike. And there's no life which is bigger and smaller than the other. And when I hear somebody trying to give me names that are not mine, it reflects down to what we Ugandans are doing. Because if a person can call the whole president all names, then I don't expect anything different from that. But nevertheless, that's not my biggest issue. What I'm saying is, whether I support what happened in Aurora, I condemn from the very onset of whoever caused this. Opposition, government, or whatsoever, the security agents, the civilians, the campaign agents, the participants of who are candidates there, for as long as they geared towards this, I condemn in totality. But now, how do we rupture? How do we wrap all that happened in Aurora into a Uganda of tomorrow? Is my question. How do we as leaders behave? How do government behave? How do we respect government and government respect the people and people respect one another? Is my question. But where we are going to think that because you think government is wrong and therefore you can do anything. That's why I wanted to ask a question that, is it because President Museveni is a president that we members of parliament are behaving the way we are behaving?
No.
That should not be the question. With Museveni or out of Museveni, parliament should be an institution that exhibits the highest dignity and behavior possible throughout the world. That's what people expect of parliament. So I don't support what happened in Aurora. And then somebody asked me, in my opinion, how do I expect government to behave when government does not care about its people? We are about 40 million Ugandans. And in a circumstance that happened in Aurora, if government was not to care, and I'm saying if at all the presidential convoy was stoned and government was not to care, I think over thousands of lives would have been lost. But because this government care,
it killed a
it
few.
did all that it could to make sure that the numerous number of people were saved. I'm telling you, that's how much this government cares.
Go to another because we're running out of time now.
For me, I want to thank the caller, but I want to start with that one of Shema. They had by-elections from Shema. What were the magnitude of the violence? And the SFs were there, the president were there. How many people were beaten and tortured? If that young man can know. Yes, it's true. The age of 29 and the age of 50, we cannot think are the same because our experiences are different. The way how you want to behave when you are 29, the old man of 50, 60, 70 doesn't behave the same way because you've not seen much. You see, the experience and the age cannot be repressible. If you're a young man and you want to use force to do things, an old man cannot do it that way. And it goes back all to the coiling of the behavior. Today, this is the only state where you can see a young man getting a stick chasing a policeman with a gun. Where has it ever happened in the world? A young man getting a stick is chasing a man, a policeman with a weapon.
Does the same.
I mean, our conduct, our behavior must change. Yes, it's true. My brothers, Segona and Ganda, we always disagree principally. But it doesn't take away the way how we can behave. Ideologically, we don't agree. But when we meet, we agree and chat and we discuss things. But I cannot meet Segona because he belongs to another party, Ganda belongs to another, and I abuse him. No. Okay. You don't have that right.
Yes. Time
then
is up.
Somebody was government.
I think for me 2 points to make. First, you can only measure the severity of those in leadership during the time of crisis. So there was time when Dr. Milton Obote was shot at. He didn't go killing people. We've always had the argument. If the difficulties that, for example, Obote faced were faced by this government, maybe there will be nobody standing in Uganda. Because if you have people protesting on the street and you go and kill them, Obote faced people who were holding guns, maybe they should have finished everybody by now. I still think, although of course, that we'll need people who will speak to President Museveni. Someone asked Kakoda whether he thinks there is a life after NRM.
Actually,
after Museveni.
I think after Museveni. I think the same question can be asked of the president. I've told you, Kamara, twice in 2014, I pleaded with him, but he was just laughing. Let me tell you, there is no way you will be a president for life and you don't expect these challenges. Mugabe, even as frail as he was, he still wanted to preside over a country until they told him, please, this country needs to move on. The unfortunate thing is that the colleagues of President Museveni, his contemporaries, who were capable of advising one by one, either have fallen off or he has dismissed them. You now have a bunch of young people who are only cheering him up, saying, what would you have done if you were a government? So you must show, remember what Yefuza said when they were arresting Besigye in 2005? We must show the state exists. And I see that running in her blood. At every point you must show you are in power, you have guns. The moment you don't restrain yourself when you are in power, you can only expect chaos. Okay. And you don't determine.
Okay, Honorable Segona, your parting shot.
Well, first of all, I want to agree with my colleagues that one, if you're a member of parliament, behave with dignity. Yeah. If you're president, actually it is the duty is over and above members of parliament. The fountain of honor. Fountain of honor, you must also behave presidential. Point number 2. Does it not surprise Ugandans that these SF soldiers who allegedly restrained themselves when stones were pelted at the president did not restrain themselves hours later when they were arresting members of parliament? Does it not surprise Ugandans? Number 3. Yes, when I see a civilian chasing a policeman, 2 things come to my mind. The first thing is that I have immense respect for that policeman who is restraining himself because he's trained. The problem is here we have bushmen who never went through any formal training, but simply grabbed the guns, were able to kill, the majority of the fighters and captured power. Best before 2000, whether you like it or not, our service to the public reaches a point of satiety, and we must retire. My view is that if only the president had thought of retiring when his time came, and that's why I insist on best before 2000, anything that you consume after that best date, I can tell you, is poisonous. Finally, let me appeal to the president. He still holds the key. Like I said, I condemn violence in the strongest terms, at whatever level, or you call it magnitude. My sister was emphasizing magnitude. At whatever level, violence is not a good thing. Does it not surprise Ugandans that everywhere the president has lost an election, the opposition have cheated, the Electoral Commission has messed up, the opposition have raped women, and these women are raped by opposition, and the women must be, of necessity, be NRM. When you have a president who is the fountain of honor, who is supposed to be the last bastion, coming into trivialities, this is what you face. As Medad Lubega, I should be now complaining about Muhoozi Kainerugaba. But complain to who? To our father or our grandfather, Jaja Joel Museveni. But now my problems are with him, are caused by him. So I think we must reach, it's about humility, it is about basic civility, it is about respect for institutions, it's about respect for government. If you have respect for government, you do not abuse it. I think my president has abused all institutions of the state.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thank you for having honored our invitation and appearing in this show. And I thank you all of you.
I emphasize this is my president by conscription, by force.
But okay,
But if you
maybe if I could,
Whatever name is.
the most important thing we
Still
need
a
to do,
president.
I suppose, in my view, is to do everything with civility, with respect. To respect the sanctity of life and the dignity of others in whatever we're going to do and save our country. Because at the end of the day, we are all Ugandans, and let us at least keep this country together for ourselves, for our children, and our children's children. Good night, and God bless Uganda.
Thank you.
Thank you.